Hi people, and welcome to what is actually our second video tutorial of Procurics. This tutorial, of course, shows off our shiny new user interface, and what we're going to do today is basically run through Procurics from setting up a couple of things in your company, such as your departments and level of approvals, etc. And then we're going to create a requisition, let's just say for 20 desktop computers, and then create a purchase order after that and close that purchase order once we're done with it. So as you can see now, I just started a new company. All my dashboards are empty, and you got your menus over here. So you got your home menu where you get your dashboard, marketplace, draft, requisitions, your tasks, and the company's directory, requisitioning, purchase orders and vendor management, catalog management, and your reporting, as well as your profile, your company settings, access to the Procurics community site, and signing out. So first things first, we're going to need to set up a few things before we can start requisitioning anything. So let's go ahead and start with that. So we're going to head out to the company settings. Here's your company profile. You can upload the logo, fill in your details, but we're not going to need that right now. First thing we're going to need to do is to create a department. So we'll click here, department code TP001. Let's just call it the engineering department. And we are going to enable levels of authority for this department. What does that mean? So basically, when we come to requisition anything, our system, Procurics, is going to calculate the estimated value of that requisition. And based on the value of that requisition, we're going to send it for approval to certain people within your company. So let's just say that, for example, I'm going to add myself as a approver, and I'm authorized to approve up to $100,000. Let's just say. If you've got any more people after that, from 100,000 plus, you can keep adding them over here. But for the time being, let's just set it up this way, and we'll show you how the approval routing will work in Procurics. Let's go ahead and save that. So we got that department. Department budgets, you can set budget amounts if you wanted to keep track of how your departments are doing. So the engineering department, let's just say from January 1st, 2014 till December 31st, and the amount our budget will be is about, let's just say $500,000. And we'll save that there. Okay. User management, of course, you can invite users over here, but for me, I'm going to set myself up in the engineering department. Now, as I'm a super user, I cannot change my roles over here. When you invite other users, you'll be able to select the roles and permissions from the screen. So let's go ahead and save that. Chart of accounts. Now, we're going to need a chart of account from, you probably get this from your accounting department. You can either upload the CSV file of all your chart of accounts and their codes, or can create it manually over here. So let's create a chart of account code. Let's call it 400 computer equipment, and we'll enable it. So we'll save that right there. Okay. Projects, this is for you if you want to keep track of requisitioning or purchasing into which project, which we're not going to do in this tutorial. Work categories. Now this is for classifying your vendors. So we need a work category for a vendor we're going to create down the line. So let's call it work category 001, supply of computer hardware. Whoops. So all companies that supply computer hardware will put them under that work category. And then we go into inventory. Now this isn't actual stock inventory that you have in the company. It's more trying to keep track of items that you want to requisition for, that you want to purchase. And in Procurics, you cannot purchase anything unless it is already logged into the inventory, so that we can keep track of, what purchases, how many of these items were made, who are the suppliers, average pricing, etc. So let's go ahead and add an item over here. Let's just say SKU001 for the SKU number. Apple iMac desktop computer, 27-inch iMac, 8 GB RAM. Unit of measure, we'll call it a set. Estimated price in USD, let's just say about $2,000. And this is, you select the chart of account, which we created earlier, which is computer equipment, and we'll enable this item. If it was disabled, it wouldn't show up in your requisitioning list. So we'll go ahead and create that. And there we go. Now we need to head out and we need to create a vendor. Now this we're going to need down the line when we come to generate a purchase order. So let's create a vendor. Let's give them a name. Big Computer Co. reference VN001 or whatever numbering system you use. Contact person Bill Gates. Bill at bigcomputerco.com. Telephone number 604-555-2345. Fax, website http://bigcomputercode.com. And then there's the address 101 Lease Avenue. Let's just say Detroit, select state, Michigan. Postal code, I don't know, 34567, and the country, United States. And as you can see here, this is the work category that we created earlier. We only have one, so it's supply of computer hardware. And that's it. So now we've created an approved vendor in our list, and you can list out all the categories here, and you can see all the vendors that are within each category, and you can always come back here to edit their details. Okay, so we're sorted out here. We've set up everything. Now we're ready to create our first requisition. This is a requisition dashboard screen. As you can see, we've got 3 stages that your requisitions can go through. First of all is the draft section. So these are requisitions that you are drafting but haven't been submitted for approval yet. These are a list of requisitions that are awaiting approval from various other parties within the company. And this is where requisitions that have been approved are put in here, and then we can create a purchase order out of them. And so we're going to start off with a new requisition. So let's start over here. We need the requisition ID, RQ00120114 for the engineering department, no project. So we require this by the 30th of October. Now, if you got any spec sheets or files that you want to attach with that, you can select them over here. And we'll give our requisition a title, something descriptive. Purchase of 20 desktop computers. And we'll add the bill of quantity. So we can search by SKU, SKU001, Apple iMac, and we'll need 20 pieces of those. We'll add that item. So as you can see, we're seeing the estimated value of this requisition based on the item we created in the inventory under company settings. This is important because if there's any levels of authority, this will determine as to who are the users that this requisition has to go through for approval. And then finally, you can put in a remark, we need these for our new design department. Okay, when you're ready, you can submit that requisition. If you'd like to save a draft and come back to it later, you can do that. You can see your drafts over here, or you can see them over here. And if you decide you don't want this requisition anymore, you can simply delete it. So let's go ahead and submit that for approval. So as you can see, if you remember back when we set up this department, that we created a level of approval such that any requisitions that go through for the engineering department with a value from $0 to $500,000 would have to be routed through myself. And that's why you would see I have a task over here waiting from me, from myself. And the description is a purchase of 20 desktop computers, and the task type is an approval task. So let's go ahead and click on that. I can review all the details and approve it, reject it, or do a request for change. For the time being, let's just approve that. Say OK, and then submit for approval. So as you can see, this jumped from here to here and is now over here. Now we're ready for somebody to create a purchase order out of this requisition. So let's go ahead and do that. And now we're at the create purchase order screen. But before we create that purchase order, if you go back to the requisitions, you can get a historical list of all your requisitions over here. So you can search by department, by requisitioner, and see the results over here if ever you want to come back to it later on. So we are in the purchase orders, and you can see in this dashboard screen, we've got purchase orders go under two stages. One is purchase orders under preparation, and then purchase orders that have been submitted and are awaiting closure, i.e. when we receive the items into our warehouse or our company. Let's go back over here and create this purchase order. So we'll call it PO 0012014, shipping terms, NA, payment terms, cash on delivery. Delivery date, let's just say it's 23rd of October, and we're going to ship via ground shipping. So here's where we have to select our vendor. If you remember, we created this big computer co earlier under the vendor management screen. So we'll go ahead and select him and check to see that all the address details and everything are correct. Shipping details, so that would be to me. Let's just say that I'm in 145 Sun Avenue, City, Michigan. Sorry, Detroit, Michigan, 78906, United States. All these details would come from our company profile, which we didn't fill out, but if you did, you would get all that details pre-filled over here. And then for the billing details, the same as the shipping details, we can simply copy from the shipping details, and we'll copy all the details from here to here. Then we come to the bill of quantities. Now, let's say that this supplier, Big Computer Co., can supply all 20 items, so you can put all 20 over here. However, if you wanted to split the requisition, then you can simply put in lesser number, and what Procurics will do is that it will split this purchase order into two. So the first one will go for 13, and the balance 7 can be sent to another vendor. For the time being, well, let's just say that this vendor can supply us all 20 units, and he gave us a price of 2031. Taxes 13%. You can see the subtotal over here. A discount of, let's just say, 10%. Transport charges, let's just say about $400. Other charges, no, $0. So the grand total over here is $41,710.54. So we can save this draft, or we can now submit it. And you can see the purchase order has been generated over here. Here's the Apple iMac desktop computer, and here's the description, set, quantity, unit price, tax, and total price. If ever you want to print, just go over here. You should be able to get all the, well, there we go. And you can print that out, and you can save as PDF, or print it and fax it, whatever you do. And wait for the items to be received. So we go back to purchase order screen. You can see that we have this purchase order. It is awaiting whether we want to cancel it or we close it. Closing it means that we have physically received the items, and Procurics will then take all the details from this purchase order in terms of how much we spent, etc., and it'll generate all the data, dashboards, etc., that comes out of it. So let's just say we received these items, they're all in good condition, no problems. We simply close the purchase order. Are you sure? Close. Yes, close the purchase order. And we can see a history of all our purchase orders over here. So you can search by PO number, from, to, dates, department, and status, and pull out any historical purchase order details. So that's basically it. There are other features in Procurics, such as the marketplace and other company settings and stuff like that we didn't touch on, but this was just to be a quick introduction to Procurics and how you set up a few things first and then create a requisition purchase order and then close out that purchase order. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and best of luck with Procurics. And if ever you need any help, please do check out the Procurics community site or get in touch with us at hello@procurics.com. We'd love to hear any feedback that you may have to help us improve our product and add more and more features. Thank you very much.